Hey guys, Sam here from Sugar Spun Run, and today I'll be showing you how to make my favorite baked ziti. Today's savory recipe is by popular request. We're taking a short break from desserts so I can share one of my favorite homemade dinners with you. Today's baked ziti is really easy, so let's get started. The first thing you'll want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, we are going to boil 1 pound of ziti noodles. Now, if you can't find ziti noodles, penne noodles will work just as well. We'll start by placing a medium-sized pot of water over medium-high heat and bringing that to a boil. I always like to generously salt my water whenever I'm cooking pasta. Once your water has come to a boil, we're going to add our ziti noodles, and we're going to cook for about 10 to 11 minutes. Make sure to stir your noodles occasionally so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. Now, once your pasta has finished cooking, we're going to take this over to our sink where we'll drain it through a colander. Now, immediately rinse your noodles with cold water and drizzle with just about a teaspoon of olive oil and toss your noodles. What this is going to do is it's going to keep those noodles from sticking together while they're sitting while we're preparing our sauce. So don't skip this step or you'll just have a clump of noodles that are not going to work really well for spreading in your baking pan. Now that we have our noodles prepared, we are going to make our sauce. Now this homemade sauce is what makes my baked ziti so much better than any other I've ever tried. To get started, you are going to heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pan over medium heat. Once your olive oil is shimmering and has been heating for a couple minutes, we are going to add about a heaping cup or 1 yellow onion. You want this to be finely chopped. We'll just cook this onion until it's translucent. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes. Now that our onion is translucent, we are going to add about 5 cloves of minced garlic. What you really need is about a heaping tablespoon, so however many cloves of garlic it takes you to get to that point. You'll just cook your garlic and your onion together until your garlic is fragrant. This is just going to take about 30 seconds. Now, once the garlic is fragrant, we are going to add 1 pound of Italian sausage. So add this to your pot. And use your wooden spoon to just crumble the sausage while you cook it. Once the sausage is mostly browned, we're going to add some spices that we want the sausage to absorb to get a really good flavor. We're going to start with 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of onion powder, 3/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and I also like to use just a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper for a little extra heat. Now continue to cook your sausage until it's completely brown. Try to kind of use your spatula or your spoon to work those spices into the meat so everything is nicely combined. Once that is browned, now we are going to add a 24-ounce can of tomato sauce. We are also going to add 1 can, this is about a 14.5-ounce can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes. I also like to add just 3 teaspoons of white granulated sugar to help cut the acidity from the tomatoes. Now stir everything together really well, and we're just going to cook this mixture until it comes to a simmer or until it's lightly bubbling. We'll continue to cook it at a simmer until this mixture is slightly thickened. At this point, I like to stir in a 1/4 cup of shredded basil leaves, and we'll stir that into the sauce. This is really going to help give our baked ziti sauce a great flavor. Now remove your sauce from the heat and we are ready to layer our ziti. You're going to need a 9x13 pan for this recipe, and I like to just lightly butter the pan. You want to butter the bottom and sides. Alternatively, you could just use cooking spray for this step. Now we're going to take just a small bit of that sauce we just prepared and layer it on the bottom of our pan. As you can see, this is just a really little bit of sauce, just enough to barely cover the bottom of the pan. It's also going to help keep your noodles from sticking. Now grab your prepared noodles and we're going to spread half of the noodles into your prepared pan. If any of your noodles have stuck together while sitting, you should be able to just gently pry them apart. Now we'll layer these noodles with about half of our sauce. You want your noodles to be well covered, so while you're adding the sauce over top, just use your spoon to just gently work it in so that your noodles are well coated. And make sure you work that sauce into the noodles just gently, especially in the corners. It's really easy to forget about the corners. Now you'll need a heaping cup of ricotta cheese. I'm not going to be using this whole container, just about half of it, and I'll just be dolloping the ricotta evenly over the ziti. Now you don't need to cover all of your sauce with ricotta, just evenly spaced dollops will work really well. And I'll just use my spoon to gently work those dollops out so they're a little more evenly distributed and not just big mounds of ricotta. Now top the ricotta and the sauce layer with your remaining noodles. gotten these stuck together a bit, so I'm just gonna break them apart. Because we used our olive oil and our cold water, it'll be really easy to break up any pieces that might have stuck together. And of course, you can use a spoon. I just prefer to use my clean hands. Now we'll just pour the remaining half of our sauce evenly over these noodles. And once again, we'll use our spoon to just gently work that sauce into the noodles. We'll top off our ziti with 1½ cups of shredded mozzarella cheese and a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. We're going to start baking our ziti by covering with foil, and then after about 15 to 20 minutes in the oven, we'll uncover it and cook it for another 5 minutes. Now, one thing I like to do is lightly spray the foil with just a little bit of canola or any cooking oil, just so that the mozzarella cheese doesn't stick to the foil while it's baking. Now this is going to go into our 350° Fahrenheit oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll remove the foil and bake for another 5 minutes before removing and serving. All right, now your baked ziti is finished cooking and we are ready to dig in. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed my favorite baked ziti recipe. If you try this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see more savory recipes around here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's video, I really hope you will give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, here are a few others you might like as well.